Population migration in 2025 is one of the most powerful forces shaping human civilization. Millions move every year, driven by conflict, economics, climate change, and opportunity. Borders are still enforced, nations still compete, and migration is often seen as a crisis rather than a process. Most movement flows from the global south to the global north, from rural regions to megacities, and from unstable zones to perceived centers of safety. This moment marks the beginning of a long transformation in how humanity moves, settles, and defines home. As the timeline advances into the late 21st and early 22nd centuries, migration accelerates. Rising sea levels push coastal populations inland. Heat and water scarcity reshape settlement patterns across Africa, the Middle East, South Asia, and parts of Europe. By 2300, migration is no longer episodic but continuous. Governments shift from reactive border control to managed mobility systems. Cities are designed to absorb population flows dynamically, expanding vertically and underground. Citizenship becomes layered, allowing individuals to belong to multiple regions simultaneously. By the year 2600, migration is deeply integrated into global planning. Climate-stabilized corridors guide population movement across continents. Entire cities are built with the expectation that their populations will change every generation. Cultural identity becomes portable rather than fixed to territory. Languages merge, fragment, and reassemble as people grow up in multilingual environments, shaped by constant movement. Migration is no longer defined by origin and destination, but by circulation. By 3000, humanity exists across Earth, orbital habitats, and artificial environments. Migration extends beyond the planet. Movement between Earth and space settlements becomes routine. People migrate not only for survival or opportunity, but for experience, research, and cultural exchange. The concept of a permanent homeland weakens. Instead, individuals identify with networks, professions, and shared histories rather than geography. Earth itself becomes a hub rather than a destination. As centuries pass toward 3600, migration becomes increasingly non-physical. Consciousness transfer, extended lifespans, and digital embodiment allow people to exist in multiple locations at once. Physical migration still occurs, but informational migration dominates. Memories, skills, and identities move faster than bodies ever could. Cultural centers shift constantly as data flows reshape influence and belonging. By 4200, planetary migration stabilizes. Population levels are carefully regulated to maintain ecological balance. Movement is guided by long-term planetary systems rather than national interests. Some regions are designated for human habitation, others for ecological recovery. Migration becomes a responsibility as much as a right, balancing personal freedom with planetary stewardship. By the year 5000, humanity is a multiplanetary species. Migration between worlds defines civilization. Earth is no longer overcrowded, but selectively inhabited. Many return to Earth not to live permanently, but to reconnect with origin. Migration becomes cyclical, with generations moving between planets, habitats, and digital realms. Cultural memory is preserved through constant movement rather than static settlement. Finally, in the year 5500, migration is no longer driven by necessity or survival. It becomes a defining feature of human identity. Humans are no longer tied to land, borders, or even planets. Movement through space, environments, and states of existence is natural and expected. The idea of migration as a crisis has vanished, replaced by migration as continuity. Across these millennia, the evolution of population migration tells a single story. Humanity learns that survival does not come from staying still, but from adapting, moving, and redefining home again and again. From the crowded cities of 2025 to the fluid civilizations of 5500, migration becomes not a problem to solve, but the mechanism by which humanity endures.